Hi there, Sandy here. Welcome to another jewelry making video at keepsakecrafts.net. Today I have for you this great pair of earrings, and you might be surprised to learn how I made the focal beads. So here's one of my earrings made already, and here's a little pile of these beads. Now if you've been watching my YouTube channel for a while, you'll recognize these. These were actually a mistake. I made a video a while back teaching you how to make faux sea glass out of polymer clay. However, the first batch that I put in the oven, I put in at 375 degrees instead of 275. Those of you who do polymer clay will know that polymer clay burns. Not only did it burn, it puffed. I don't have any examples to show you what they look like, but you can look at the video clip here and see what they look like coming out of the oven. I don't recommend doing this. If you feel you must do it, make sure that you bake your beads inside 2 aluminum disposable pans clipped together at the edges with clothespins, and then take it outside to open it when you're done. I can't in good conscience recommend it, but I suspect some of you might try it because these are pretty cool. To rescue them from being black looking, I've painted them with Swelligant paints and then added patinas such as copper and rust. So I'm going to use these 2 beads for my earrings today, and they drill really easy. You can feel when the drill goes through that they're very, very soft and squishy, almost not quite like marshmallow, but very soft inside because something in the clay puffed up in the baking / burning. Also, if you want to know other uses for these beads, I did a video on wire wrapping undrilled pieces, and I'll link to that as well at my blog post. My first thought in making these earrings was that I wanted to make them entirely on waxed linen twine, but my problem was that all of my beads would fit on 2 strands of twine except these shells. And I got out a diamond reamer and reamed out a couple of these and then decided I didn't have the patience for it and switched to a head pin for the top part of this. So you can see from this bead down to the focal is on a head pin, and then I did the bottom dangle on the twine. So you get the look without the hassle of having to have all beads that have large enough holes. So this really is very simple. It took me a whole lot longer to go through all of my supplies and gather things in different colors that I like. I've gone with copper and turquoise because that just seems to be the way I've been rolling these days. And I love this little spirally bead. I thought that was fun. And then the shells are just so pretty with all the different colors and shapes. And so I just did a stack of 3 of these dyed shell beads. Like I said, have fun going through your stash and find different things that work for you. And then I have this square spacer, which again just added to the funky bohemian look. And then finally my focal bead, I don't know what to call that, burnt polymer clay beads. And then all you need to do is take your round nose pliers and make a loop at the bottom. If it's longer than 3/8 of an inch, then trim off a little. And then don't forget that wax linen twine comes in lots of colors. It comes in black, which I thought was a little stark for this, so I went with brown. I cut a 5 or 6 inch piece of this twine. I'd much rather cut it a little bit longer than I need and have to trim it off. The stuff isn't expensive. And then you're just going to loop that through the eye pin and make a knot. And many thanks to my newest patron, Beverly Chislett. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your support, Beverly. And you want that knot to sit right up against the eye pin, so an awl is a helpful tool. You can just put it in there and guide that knot to be exactly where you want it to live. And the knots with the wax linen twine kind of function as little beads. And then I have this cool coiled coil bead. And then another knot, done the same way with the awl to hold it in place. And then finally, these are just some little wooden beads. If you were making something sparkly, it would be pretty with little Swarovski crystals. And then we'll try to make these match. You can see that actually, although 6 inches seemed like a lot, the knots take up a lot more length than you might think. I think I figured once that a knot takes up about a 1/2 inch. Trim those ends to whatever length you like. I trim them usually to around 1/4 of an inch and add a little bit of an angle. And then for the final step, I thought it would be fun to customize the ear wire. And you could see here what I've done. I took off the little copper bead that was on here, and of course saved that for another project, and added one of my little wooden beads. So you can do that just to jazz up a purchase finding. And you just take your round nose pliers and reverse engineer that curve until the bead will slide off. Slide on your bead of preference. Again, Swarovski crystals would be pretty here. And then just go ahead and redo that curve. Open it up, pop on the top of your eye pin, and you're done. I just love the way all these textures and colors work together. The different shapes just really make a fun pair of earrings. These are quite long, but you could make them shorter by using a few less components. It's just so much fun to stack them up. So if you're interested in the supplies I used, you can click on the little eye or the tag in the upper right of the video, or the link in the description box to go to my blog post, where I will always have a complete list of supplies and links to products. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and take a look at my Patreon page for how you can get great rewards and help support these tutorials. Happy creating. Bye-bye.